Each year, more than 4 million tons of potatoes are transported from farms to global markets. That's the equivalent of 160,000 fully loaded trucks, enough to stretch across a continent. Most of these potatoes are destined for processing, plants, fast food chains, and supermarket shelves. But before they're fried, frozen, or peeled, they move through one of the most quietly complex logistics systems in modern agriculture. At first glance, potatoes seem durable, but once harvested, they begin to change. Internal starches shift. Exposure to light can trigger sprouting. Heat accelerates decay. To prevent spoilage, every step, harvest, storage, handling, shipping, must be controlled within tight margins. Temperature, airflow, pressure, each variable is managed to the decimal. This isn't about urgency or speed. It's about maintaining conditions. Some potatoes will travel over 8,000 kilometers by land and sea, passing through sorting lines, cooling chambers, and refrigerated containers. Others move only a few hundred miles, but still require precise treatment to retain their quality. Behind this global trade is a mix of rural labor, industrial machinery, and cold chain engineering, forklifts and conveyors, sorting software, aging, warehouses with smart ventilation systems, all working together to move millions of tons of produce, one batch at a time. This is how a simple tuber becomes a managed commodity, lifted from the soil, cooled, counted, and kept fresh for markets far from where it grew. Northern Europe is one of the most efficient potato-producing regions on Earth. In particular, Belgium and the Netherlands, two countries with dense populations and limited farmland, have managed to transform modest acreage into high-output agricultural zones. Each square kilometer is mapped, measured, and optimized. In Flanders alone, farmers produce up to 45 tons of potatoes per hectare, nearly double the global average. The soil plays a key role. In many areas, it's a sandy loam, crumbly, well-drained, and rich in organic matter. This texture allows for deep root growth and easy harvesting. Combined with a temperate maritime climate, consistent rainfall, and a long tradition of crop rotation conditions here are ideal for growing high-yield varieties like Binchi, Agria, and Fontaine, potatoes bred not for appearance, but for storage stability and frying performance. Centuries ago, the potato was a subsistence crop, grown on small plots and stored in root cellars. But by the mid-20th century, industrial processors began to demand uniformity, consistent sizes, shapes, and dry matter content to improve mechanized peeling, slicing, and frying. In response, growers adapted. Storage facilities grew taller, harvesters became more precise. Entire farming cooperatives formed to serve processors operating year-round. Today, the region operates like a tightly coordinated machine. Fields are planted and harvested in carefully staggered intervals. Storage capacity is measured in tens of thousands of tons, and many farms are equipped with their own curing rooms, grading lines, and loading docks. The crop may still be humble, but the system that moves it is not. What makes this region unique isn't just its output, it's the predictability, the reliability. A processor in Dubai or Tokyo can place an order in October and receive a temperature-controlled shipment in February, with the starch profile still within spec. It's not about scale alone, it's about precision under pressure, year after year. Potatoes begin with a piece of another potato. These are called seed tubers, small, firm segments cut from certified parent stock and stored over winter. Each carries at least one healthy sprout. In early spring, when soil temperatures reach around 7 degrees Celsius, these seed pieces are planted roughly 10 centimeters deep, spaced like bricks in a pattern, rows 75 centimeters apart, each plant about 30 centimeters from its neighbor. Modern potato farming relies on highly specialized equipment. Planters roll across open fields, guided by GPS. Each seed is placed with mechanical precision to avoid overlapping roots. Fertilizers applied in a narrow band beneath the tuber, maximizing uptake and minimizing runoff. As the plants grow, Rows are gradually hilled, soil pushed up around the stems to encourage tuber formation and protect the crop from sunlight, which can cause greening and toxicity. Throughout the growing season, fields are monitored by satellite and drone, measuring canopy density, moisture variation, and nitrogen uptake. Sprinkler systems may be used in dry years, but too much water risks rot. Too little, and yields fall. On average, a single hectare will produce between 35 and 50 tons of usable potatoes, roughly the weight of a full-size city bus. Harvest usually begins in late August and runs through October. Timing is critical. If the crop is pulled too early, the skins are thin and easily damaged. Too late, and frost can ruin an entire field overnight. Specialized harvesters dig under the rows, lifting the soil and sifting out the tubers. Conveyors carry the potatoes upward while loose earth and stones fall away. At full speed, a 2-row machine can harvest over 10 tons per hour. Every movement is designed to reduce bruising. Even a 30-centimeter drop onto a hard surface can cause internal damage. That's why modern machines use cushioned chutes, soft rubber belts, and controlled angles to ease the tubers into trailers. At this stage, the potato is still alive. Its cells active, its respiration ongoing. Every bump, every bruise becomes a weakness during storage. By the end of the day, trailers are filled and driven to nearby storage facilities. Here, the next phase begins: cleaning, curing, and preparing the crop for months of controlled rest before it ever sees a shipping container. But before that, every potato is given time to settle, to dry, to harden, and to heal. Once the trailers arrive from the field, the potatoes are unloaded into intake hoppers. Here, they begin a carefully calibrated post-harvest process designed not to enhance them, but simply to preserve what already exists. This stage doesn't add flavor, value, or volume. Its sole purpose is to protect. The first step is drying. Not every batch is washed immediately. In fact, for long-term storage, many processors avoid water entirely. Instead, potatoes are air-dried in ventilated bins to remove excess soil and surface moisture. This prevents fungal growth and prepares the skin for curing. At this point, ambient temperature and humidity must be held within narrow margins. Too much airflow, and the potatoes lose moisture. Too little, and condensation forms. Curing follows. This is a quiet phase, invisible from the outside. Over 10 to 14 days, potatoes are stored at around 12 degrees Celsius with high humidity, over 90%. In these conditions, surface scratches seal naturally, wounds close, skins thicken. This biological self-repair is essential. Without it, even minor abrasions can become entry points for rot or mold. After curing, the crop enters storage. For potatoes intended for global markets, this isn't a simple cellar. It's a high-volume, climate-controlled facility capable of holding thousands of tons. Airflow is managed through ducted floors or sidewall systems, circulating cool, filtered air through tightly stacked piles. Some warehouses stretch the length of a football field, with ceilings high enough to hold 500 tons in a single room. Temperatures are gradually reduced to between 4 and 6 degrees Celsius, depending on the variety and market. The drop must be slow, no more than half a degree per day, to avoid triggering sugar accumulation, which affects both flavor and color when fried. Humidity remains high to prevent dehydration. Inside these rooms, the potatoes are still breathing. Slowly, silently, they consume oxygen and release carbon dioxide. If not managed, they can suffocate themselves. Some facilities use carbon dioxide scrubbers and oxygen regulation systems. Others rely on natural ventilation cycles, opening air intakes only during the coldest hours of the night. Whether fully automated or semi-manual, the principle remains the same: stability. From harvest to shipment, the potato must remain unchanged, firm, dry, dormant. These storage conditions allow certain varieties to hold for up to 10 months without sprouting or losing quality, which means a potato harvested in October can be fried in July, crisp, golden, and indistinguishable from one pulled from the ground just days earlier. But before it becomes a product, it must first be sorted, graded, and prepared for transport, because not all potatoes are sent whole, and not all are sent at all. Before shipping, every potato is sorted by size, shape, and surface quality. High-speed grading lines use cameras and sensors to inspect each tuber, rejecting those with cracks, greening, or irregular form. Larger potatoes may be routed to processors for fries, smaller ones to fresh markets. Anything too soft or too damaged is diverted to animal feed or starch extraction. Packaging depends on the destination. For nearby markets, potatoes may be shipped in open mesh sacks or cardboard crates. For long-distance export, bulk containers are often used, sealed, units that hold several tons loose with ventilation channels to maintain airflow during transport. Automated palletizers stack bags with precision, using vacuum grippers to handle over 1,000 units per hour. Loading must be gentle. Even at this stage, drops or compression can cause bruising. Forklifts, conveyors, and dock levelers are all calibrated for smooth flow. In less than 24 hours, potatoes stored in darkness for months are back in motion, sorted, packed, and heading for trucks or ports. Once loaded, potatoes move through a tightly regulated chain of transport. Inside the reefer, cartons are stacked with space for airflow, wrapped in moisture-resistant liners to prevent freezer burn. This cold chain continues through ports, distribution centers, and inland transport. From catch to final delivery, the haddock is never allowed to thaw, ensuring it arrives at market with the same firmness and quality as the day it was packed. Once packed into reefer containers, the frozen haddock begins its international movement. Most shipments leave from ports like Ålesund, Murmansk, or Reykjavik, bound for terminals in Rotterdam, Qingdao, or Boston. A single vessel may carry up to 12,000 tons of frozen seafood, stacked in hundreds of sealed units. Every container must pass health inspection and customs clearance, with documentation verifying species, catch zone, and temperature compliance. Delays are costly, both in logistics fees and product quality. Transit times vary: 5 days to the UK, 12 days to North America, and up to 30 days to East Asia. Throughout the journey, temperature logs are reviewed at checkpoints to ensure no deviation from the 25°C standard. Some shipments are inspected mid-transit for signs of thawing, water accumulation, or odor, signals of potential spoilage. Even in winter storms or port backlogs, the system is designed to preserve product integrity from ocean dock to urban distribution center. In major import hubs like Qingdao, Gdansk, or Ho Chi Minh City, frozen haddock is unloaded and transferred to specialized factories for final processing. Here, the fillets are defrosted under controlled conditions, trimmed, deboned, and shaped into products tailored to local markets. This can include breaded portions, frozen fish sticks, or loins cut to exact gram weights. High-speed machinery performs most of the cutting, but human workers often handle inspection and portioning, skinning, battering, and par-frying lines. Operate with strict temperature and timing controls, ensuring product uniformity. Once processed, the haddock is flash frozen again and vacuum packed in retail-ready formats. These plants often serve multiple brands and countries, producing private label products for global supermarkets. Labels are printed in up to 5 languages, each box coded with traceability data linking back to the vessel, date of catch, and origin plant, preserving transparency across borders. The global haddock trade moves billions of dollars each year. Wholesale prices range from $2.50 to $4 per pound, depending on cut, grade, and processing stage. In total, the annual export value of haddock exceeds $7.4 billion, driven by steady demand in North America, the United Kingdom, and Western Europe. The UK alone imports over 90,000 tons annually, much of it destined for the fish and chip industry. Major buyers include retail chains like Tesco, Aldi, and Costco, as well as institutional food service suppliers. Processed haddock products are often bundled with cod and pollock to offer consistent pricing across different markets. Exporting countries benefit not just from raw fish sales, but also from secondary processing revenue and trade partnerships. Pricing is sensitive to fuel costs, fishing quotas, and seasonal fluctuations in stock availability. Yet even with these variables, haddock remains one of the most stable and predictable species in the frozen whitefish category. Managing haddock stocks requires strict oversight. After population declines in the 1990s, regional councils introduced catch limits, seasonal closures, and gear restrictions to prevent overfishing. Today, vessels are tracked by satellite monitoring, and every haul is logged digitally. Many exports carry the MSC certification, indicating adherence to sustainable practices. Some processors now use blockchain systems to trace each fillet back to its origin. Still, risks remain, especially from illegal fishing and quota misreporting. Climate shifts are also changing haddock migration patterns, pushing stocks further north. Sustainability now depends on balancing volume with long-term ecological stability. A single haddock may be caught off Iceland, filleted in Norway, breaded in Vietnam, and served in a diner in Ohio, all in less than 30 days. Its journey spans thousands of kilometers, multiple freezing cycles, and at least 3 layers of processing. Yet on the plate, it remains simple, white, flaky, mild. Beneath that simplicity is a precise system of harvest, logistics, and engineering, built to deliver freshness at industrial scale.